Welcome back for another installment of Fellowship of the Rink, episode 28. Not with me, as always, being Joe Smith, who is MIA this week and next. After that, you should be getting the regular show moving forward, but Joe's in the midst of going out on the road for a wedding, first trip away with the little one, and closing on a house all at the same time. So decided to give him a little bit of time off, but in his stead, we have producer extraordinaire, Isha Jerome. What's going on, man?
It's always weird being on this side of the production now.
Yeah.
But I'm very familiar with the show.
It's messed up that it's weird recording with you too, because I think there was like a 4-year stretch where I recorded like twice a week with you. Yeah. And now we really don't, which will lightly change here in the not so far future. But got a pretty straightforward show here for you guys. We are going to flip things around because it's State Fair week. We're getting into all of the State Fair hot takes here as always, brought to you by our great friends at Barrel Theory.
It's State Flood Week, actually. You see the State Fair got flooded yesterday after the freaking storm?
No, but I believe it.
People were like being evacuated. Like firefighters and cops were there being like, okay, we're shutting it down. We don't want anyone to swim. We don't want anybody to get struck by lightning. It was wild.
Jesus. Yeah. Then we've got an awesome interview that we lined up for you from multi-Stanley Cup winner Shawn Chambers, who is an absolute beauty. And I kind of teased this before. I think the highlight of the interview for me is getting into the era of some of the greatest goalies and hearing him talk about just how ridiculous it is going up against each of them. But Shawn comes in again, really fun interview, and one that we're doing to promote again this weekend, the great event up at Cragun's Legacy Course. Again, Matt Boldy won't be there this year, primarily due to fan backlash at his attendance. But there will be Shawn Chambers, of course, up there partying and having a good time. But you never know what other Minnesotans might sneak up there. I'm sitting here, fingers crossed, hoping that Hartman just like shows up and pisses everybody off even more. Although fans would probably be less upset about him doing it than Boldy. They're probably like, yeah, go ahead, dude. With the way fans have been treating him lately, I still don't get it. We don't need to get into it any further. But we'll wrap it up with just a couple quick wild notes and get you guys out of here. And quick heads up, next week, we're bringing you a little bit different show as well. Being that the NFL season will be opening up that week, we've got a fun Vikings guest jumping on with you to preview the whole season. So stay tuned for that next week. But Isha, like we said, we're going to open it up here with the fun stuff. Keyboard Warriors, brought to you by our incredible friends at Barrel Theory. You can catch them at the State Fair. Shocker. You can find Raindrops at the bandstand in the grandstand, so you can rock out to all the tunes in style. Yes, I am reading this directly from their social post. And it wouldn't be a visit to the fair without stopping by the Ballpark Cafe, which is a spot-on comment. Ballpark is like one of the spots you have to go, and it's honestly a little overwhelming at times. They'll have the freshest batch of Rude Awakening you can find. And I know Joe Smith was out there earlier today as we record, so Tuesday, and the only things he sent me a picture of was his Rude Awakening being the first beer he grabbed of the day, and then the Summit on a Stick, which I'm actually surprised no one's like played that bit before, but it's basically just a flight of Summit beers. But make sure, go out, support them as much as you can at the State Fair, at the tap room, and again, coming up real soon at the XL Energy Center. It's so close. It's so close. But let's talk about it. We've got some hot takes across the board. Before we get into the hot takes, because we'll probably just have to lead off with yours, Isha, but you've been to the State Fair once, correct?
Yeah, I'm probably not going to go this year, but I went last year.
I mean, economy.
Honestly, I got no one to go with this year. I ain't going solo. My roommates already went. They had like a date day together, and I didn't want to weasel my way in between there.
And that's like we're going tomorrow, Laura and I, and like it's very much date day. So there's we're not even bringing Logan. So
there you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Maybe I bring maybe just me and Logan go then.
He'd probably have better takes. Well, your just general impression, having never gone, hearing. I'm a Minnesotan, so I'm going to say that people overtalk it, but it is definitely a spectacle. Like, how did it compare to expectations?
So, like, I'm not really a big fair guy, but what I loved the most about the Minnesota State Fair was why I think it's so like famous, like the food, the drink, right? All that kind of stuff, right? So, like, I'm not a fair game guy or anything, and like I don't have like kids or younger like nieces or nephews or anything. Maybe if I did, it'd be more of like, like a family affair thing like that. And even growing up, like I wasn't a big rides guy or anything like that anyways, didn't play many fair games, but the beer and food there is next level. And that delivered for sure. And I'm glad that like I brought a ton of cash, and I was like, when I run out of cash, I'm gonna stop eating. Is essentially like how I played it, and I think
I it accordingly. Like, how much did you bring?
I think I brought like 200.
Oh, okay. So you were prepared.
Yeah. So I was prepared, but honestly, I think I left with like $30 in my pocket just because there was no more room in my belly after the last 2 beers. And that was the thing. I didn't load up on beer early, which probably would have been the mistake. I had beers towards the end, which was good. And so as far as like how everyone talks about like the food and how it's just like next level, and there's just like too much almost. It's like almost overstimulating with the options. Like, yeah, that's how they get you coming back multiple days. That's how they get you coming back sometimes every day. As I know there's some people who like that is their mission every day to go to the state fair. So I totally get it. And like I said, that I'm definitely like gonna go again. It's just didn't have the group. Just not this year. I need a friend. I don't want to be that guy there just vlogging it by myself.
Oh man. All right. Well, we'll start with both of our hot takes. You commented yours, so we'll lead in with yours. Corn and bacon on a stick are the most overrated items and cash grabs for foolish plebs.
Yeah. I mean, this ain't like street corn like in Louisiana with all the amazing spices and things on it. It's like,
how many times have you been to Louisiana?
No, I'm just saying it's not that style of corn. Okay. Like if it was, then I would be more inclined to pick up a cob. But I mean, shoot, man, like you can. This is farmland, Minnesota. You can find corn anywhere so cheap at the store. It's like, why would I go to the state fair and buy and fill up on corn, or even fill a sector of my stomach with corn?
Whoa, sir, does corn fill you up?
No, that's just a section.
I could eat 10 ears of corn with no problem. Like that's like vitamins.
Okay,
just a Flintstone vitamin you're popping in. I don't know. For me, the thing is, it is the cheapest food item at the fair.
But you're not going there for corn. That's the thing. It's like
some people are, and yes, you can do corn at home, whatever. Dipping it in a vat of butter is just extremely American, Midwestern, and Minnesota.
You can't dip your corn in butter at home? I don't lather it in butter on the barbecue.
Butter to dip it in.
I mean, I guess you caught me there.
I'm not going to sit here and argue that it's like the most elite corn in the world, but to have that be the thing that you hate and you think is like the cash grab of the state fair, I guess you didn't get around and see some of the cash grabs.
Well, it's just mostly just because like the lineups for the freaking, it's like, it's corn, bro. Like the lineup for like the pickled pizza and weird stuff like that. Okay, I get like, or the massive spring roll, which that slapped by the way.
I've never waited more than 5 minutes for corn.
Dude, well, maybe just the area I was in was super packed because it was insane. And that's what blew my mind. I was like, this is for corn? Are you kidding me?
And Isha, when you say bacon on a stick, do you mean big fat bacon?
Yeah, dude.
You can shut your dirty mouth.
I knew this one would trigger.
That is, it might be my favorite thing at the fair. It's so good. Now, is it a cash grab and overpriced? 100%. But I enjoy it that much that I just don't care. Like, I acknowledge them throwing money away. It is delicious. That big fat
It's a
bacon,
big fat juicy piece of bacon for what, $10?
No, it's like $6.
Okay.
Calm down.
I thought it was like $8.99
I'm pretty
or
sure
something like that.
I'm pretty sure it's $6 or $7. But when we go tomorrow, I will confirm. And if it's $10, I'll apologize.
Okay.
And I probably won't get it, actually. But the bummer is, and it's part of the fun, but it's also not, is with the big fat bacon, you can get really lucky or really unlucky with the piece you're given.
Yes.
Like, I've had somewhere like I'll watch the person in front of me get this thick, juicy one, and then I get one that's like pretty average size.
You can like see the stick through it pretty much. Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to get back in line. I'm doing it again. It's like pull tabs. Like, it's just an addiction at that point. I got to get the good one. But I'm sure there's people out there that agree with you. I'll defend the big fat bacon to my death, the corn, whatever. If you want to hate on it, you go ahead and hate on it. You'll probably be alone.
Now, again, you can't get that big and that fat piece of bacon at the store, but it's just like, I'm not going to the state fair to get corn and fucking bacon.
Well, again, our bacon is vastly superior to Canadian bacon. So let's just be clear. Mine is going to upset people a lot more than yours, to be clear.
Oh, I think I know what's coming.
Let's hear it. I'm actually curious.
Are you gonna go after Sweet Martha's, or the cookies?
No, there's like 7 other people that already did that, so we're good there. We'll get into that.
Okay, because people are either for or against. There's like I might be the only neutral one who's like, meh.
No, I'm extremely neutral. It's let's put it this way. But no, we're gonna get into that when we get to it.
Yes, sir.
I applaud the creativity and the attempts, and I'm sure our boy Jason Bryant, who I'm sure is listening, will very much support me in this. I think that the Lift Bridge beers are the most overrated beers at the state fair. I don't think that the chocolate chip cookie one's good. I don't think the mini donut one is good. I think it's all about the novelty. And again, they do a great job dressing it up, like putting the sugar around the rim, having the chocolate chips. And for some people, that's like what they go to the fair for. And if you're those people, teach their own. I just don't think it's very good. That's my opinion. I'm sure there's like a lot of people like smashing their keyboards right now, but
there was only one that I thought was like incredible, we'll say. And there was a strawberry rhubarb one that was damn good. And I was like,
that wasn't Lift Bridge.
Was it not Lift Bridge? Oh, I thought it was. Okay, well then there you go. And it wasn't even Lift Bridge, and that was the one beer that I was blown away with the most.
Oh, one of my personal favorites that I don't know if they have there anymore, and I'm gonna have to be seeking it out tomorrow after I get like 3 different Barrel Theory beers. But if we're going like the novelty, trying something that isn't around except for fair time, it is Excelsior Brewing does a maple bacon brown ale.
Oh,
which is
heard
like
about this one,
super like simple, savory, but it's a good basic brown ale. And they put like bacon and other like accompaniments in it. But it's just like such a like it's the right level of sweet with savory. It's not bitter. It's not over sweet. That's just like the perfect beer for me. There's definitely other ones that are exotic that like you're going to get way more excited about. And if I'm going to have like half of a beer, those are probably awesome. But if I'm having 1 or 2 for myself, that maple bacon brown is high on the list every year if I can find it.
That sounds good. No, but I tend to agree with the Lift Bridge ones. I was very disappointed with the mini donuts one. Again, I don't necessarily like sweet beers. I like really at all, but like I wanted to be like, yep, this is a mini donuts beer, and it was just very bland. Like it wasn't even sweet, and I was like, damn. Like the one time I'm like, I want like a little bit of a sugar and cinnamon kick, and it didn't even really have it much.
Yeah, if you don't have the sugary rim, it's like just kind of is what it is. All right, let's get into the one that everyone brought up. Sweet Martha's being overrated. And depends on what you mean by overrated for me. Like, am I going to stand in the ridiculously long line because I need Sweet Martha's? No. Are they delicious as hell, fresh out, grabbing that bucket? Yes. You almost have to be in a big group, though, if you're going to like split those up, because everyone's like, oh, I'm going to take the bucket and I'm going to bring it home with me. They're not as good when you get home. It's
they have to be fresh.
It's got to be fresh, soft, gooey. That is great. So if the line isn't ridiculously long and you're going in on it with people, I'm totally fine with you doing that. But there are people who say that that's like the highlight of the fair for them. It's like kind of
That's
to your
wild.
point. You can go buy Sweet Martha's cookies and make them at home. Skip the line. It's way cheaper. Like it's just like the corn debate. But yeah, the people that like wait in that line multiple times in one day and buy like 3 tubs of it and like bring most of it home, you guys are living a different life than I am.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I guess the only thing that I guess I could get elsewhere, but it's actually a really good deal at the fair, is the deep fried pickles. It's like right on the entry too.
They're pretty good, dude. They're pretty
Those are good. Those are better than most places.
Dude,
so
you
like
get the ones with the cream cheese in them. Like the pickle stand is. The wife and I are going to hit that, no question. That is.
I love the pickle stand.
List.
I love the pickle stand. So
okay.
I'm all about that.
I was worried you were going to go a bad direction there.
No. That was a highlight for something. I was like, I know I can get these elsewhere, but they're relatively cheap compared to everything else there. Like if anything, they're cheaper than what you'd even cheaper or the same price you get at a bar or like a food truck. And Joe was saying, not Joe Smith, but my roommate Joe, he was saying that no, you got to try these. I was like, okay, you know your pickles, and I was impressed.
Join us in the Brainerd Lakes area this Labor Day weekend for the CRMC Championship presented by Gertens at Cragun's Legacy Courses. Last year's PGA Tour America's Tournament of the Year kicks off Thursday, August 30th, with free admission for everyone. VIP tickets are available and could go fast, so do not wait to claim access to 3 hospitality areas that have your food and beverage needs covered. Last year, Faber, Shaw, Addison, and Walker were out in full force supporting their teammate and one of your favorite Minnesota Wild players in Matt Boldy. Who knows which Wild players you might run into this year, not to mention 2-time Stanley Cup champion Shawn Chambers getting in on the action. Don't miss the Saturday Night Jam on the 18th green featuring The Hype. This is your chance to watch the next PGA Tour superstar right here in Brainerd, Minnesota. For more information, visit crmcchampionship.com.
All right, next one. Goose says the turkey sandwich is the best food item at the fair, with the Pronto Pup being number 2, which leads me to state the obvious. Pronto Pups kick corn dogs' asses. I don't think that's overly hot. The turkey sandwich is one that I've heard for sure, and there's also the turkey leg, and people will always defend those. So I can't speak to it because I haven't dabbled in either. Pronto Pup being better than a corn dog, I mean, it's just a fact. Like, I don't know how someone would debate that. the batter versus just like the cornbread, I don't know. If you prefer corn dogs, I need you to show your proof. I can't come up with a way that makes any sense. Now, saying it's the number 2 thing at the fair, yeah, that's a hot take. I don't agree, but I will gladly eat a Pronto Pup. I'm just not going to prioritize finding one.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't know, turkey legs, it's another one of those things where fresh is great, but I feel like they miss more than they hit at like events like state fairs or sport arenas. They're usually pretty damn dry and have just been sitting there for a while. So like a fresh, juicy turkey leg with a nice little sear on it all day, every day. Turkey sandwich though, I mean, I didn't try that, but I'm in. I'm a big sandwich guy.
All right, that'll be on the list for next year, I guess. All right, we got 2 deeper ones, which, of course, they come from Max Veach and Nick Lewis. Veach, one day of the fair should be for adults only. I mean 21 and over, too. Not any of the 18-plus tomfoolery. No kids, no strollers, no groups of 8 teens. That is 2 separate words, 8 teens, so a group of teens made up of 8 people, incapable of walking in anything but a shoulder-to-shoulder line, which I hate that in general life, by the way. People don't complain enough about, like, if you're going upstairs that are, like, 2 people wide and people are walking next to each other going up the stairs together, just know that I don't like you. You're a bad person. He says that the fair is for everyone except that one day. That would be a psychotic day for sure. I also think it'd be brilliant for them to do on like a Tuesday or Wednesday.
Right.
So that it's like, okay, you want to come out and have the fun day? Do it on one of the days that has a dip in attendance.
Yep.
So
like
that could be interesting. But yeah, I don't think anyone listening to this is going to be opposed to having one day that's 21 plus. That sounds dangerous, but entertaining. I actually want to go just to people watch. I'm going to park on a bench and I'm just going to watch the degenerates do their thing.
It's funny because like I still like operate under like 18, 19 being the legal drinking age because from Canada. So for me, it's just like I was trying to like put the piece together. I was like, okay, yeah. But like the state fair would almost be way more messy in Canada because of all these like kids being able to drink. Like that's like Calgary Stampede, for example, which is massive in Canada. Like it is messy every single year because there's these 18-year-olds just absolutely wasted their group of friends, right? And so yeah. By the way, I just remember because I brought up Nick Lewis's thread here as we're talking through State Fair. The other Liftbridge beer that I surprisingly liked, and I'm not even a big apple guy, but I did like the caramel apple seltzer, and that one like surprised me. I went into it thinking I wouldn't like it. Yeah. That one I really liked. And again, I'm not a big seltzer guy, not a big like apple drink or candy or anything, but that one I was like, oh, this is good. So got to give that one some props.
Crown Royal salted caramel with Crown Royal apple. Mix them together. It's like those like caramel apple suckers. Dangerous.
Okay.
Right. Nick Lewis. 1, beer should start sooner than 10 a.m. 2, people who order their regular beers are boring. 3, people who say they dislike the fair just don't know how to navigate and operate the fair. 4,
I don't have that much money.
The Blue Barn sucks now. 5, 12 days isn't long enough. I strongly contest that one.
Nick goes every day and buys every food item too. Just saying.
It's wild. He saves up all year. This is his week. 6, need food fast pass. That's actually a really like good idea. But problem is everyone's going to buy it and then it's just going to eliminate the fast pass benefit, right? Yep. But I do think that there could be tiers to which like you continually go up and supersede people. State Fair would rake in some big bucks off that.
There's going to be some people who pay like a stupid amount, right? And they can upcharge a stupid amount because people like Nick will pay it.
He's not alone on that, though. There's so many people that would. And then his last one, agreeing with many, the cookies are meh. Yeah. So Nick, the State Fair guru, gives us really what we need to hear.
Yeah.
And then the last one from one of our Gopher coverage boys, Drew Cove. Ranch is gross. I will not be trying it deep fried. I respect half of this. The other half, get bent. Ranch is the most important condiment that exists. It is literally in every part of the food pyramid. I will say I was very skeptical, even being like the ranch lover I am. I was not sure if I was going to try the deep fried ranch, and everyone that's been trying it and posting videos seems to like have very positive reviews. So I have to try it now just to see. Like I have to.
So I can report back on what my roommate said. They said
roommate's an idiot.
Well, I mean, he said it wasn't as bad as he thought it was going to be, but it just made him want cream cheese wontons. Like the cream cheese puffs. He's like, he's just like, God, I just wish I was having some cream cheese wontons right now.
Yeah. Reasonable.
Yeah.
Reasonable.
Which I always want cream cheese wontons, by the way. all day, every day. That's our like North American Chinese food is like the same in the States and Canada, except you guys have those. And I never had one of those until I moved here, and now I'm obsessed.
Oh, dude, they're next level.
Yeah. When like my roommates get takeout and they're like, do you want anything? I'm like, 2 orders of those. They're like, wait, what? I'm like, just those. That's it. Extra sauce.
Extra sauce. All right. Well, that wraps up a lengthy but very important State Fair hot take segment. Again, brought to you by our great friends at Barrel Theory Beer Co. Check out their beers at the fair. Support them wherever you can. Liquor store, tap room, the X. Get it.
Hey, I actually quickly on Barrel Theory will just extend just a little Barrel Theory talk here. I have been reviewing them on the Soda Pod show with Seth. And I wanted to get your just quick thoughts here because I tried the Keeping Secrets and Chaz Michael Michaels again, and I've had both these beers before, but I've been actually way more active on Untapped than anybody I know now these days, making at least 2-3 posts a week. And as I dove back into the Chaz Michael Michaels and Keeping Secrets, I actually liked the Keeping Secrets more. And it wasn't because it was because it was less of a juice bomb and just like more balanced. And I found it way easier to drink. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that. Both of them I rated like, I think Keeping Secrets I rated 4, Chaz Michael Michaels I also rated 4. Like they're both incredible. But like, am I off my rocker here? Because Chaz Michael Michaels within the community is way higher of a rating. Some people rate it like 4.5.
You're digging way too deep for me because I have had like probably ballpark of 20 different IPAs from Barrel Theory. And if it's not one of the ones that I've had in the past couple of months.
Well, you've had them recently. Weeks, you've had them. I guess weeks. No, but yeah.
Like Keeping Secrets, I'm pretty sure was in the spring. So it's hard for me to like take that and be like, yeah, I can distinctly remember which one was better. I remember liking both. Definitely for different reasons. Chaz Michael Michaels is definitely a little bit different than the other Barrel Theory beers, which I like that it's a change up. It's not necessarily my favorite one, but it's definitely like a good beer.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I've been pretty straightforward on this one. If I had to pick one for the rest of my life from Barrel Theory, out of the IPA selection at least, it's Shooter McGavin.
Yeah,
like, it's just the most reliable, consistent, just great drinker. But yeah, hard for me to give you a deep review on those in comparison. If you
just rated it lower, rated it lower than I would have expected. Which again, like lower, I think it was like 3.75 or whatever. But I was just like, oh, okay, so you like Chaz Michael Michaels better. But okay, wait. When we go back to the tap room one of these days, during hockey season, we'll have to.
Yeah, I need a side by side.
Yeah, I'll have to revisit them because when I opened the Keeping Secrets, absolute juice bomb. Like I was like, whoa! Like the whole bar area smells like tropical juice. But when I drank it, it was much more, like I said, just like balanced and toned down and more drinkable than some of the other hazy IPAs that just like have a little bit more of a bite to it. Which again, I personally liked, and it was when I was doing my beer review, I was like, this is actually dangerous because I wasn't even halfway through the review and I was done the beer and I was like, oh, I need another one. So I really enjoyed that one. Yeah. So there you go.
Beautiful.
Love Barrel Theory.
Well, with that, no need to waste any more time. Let's kick it right over to a great interview with Shawn Chambers. This interview is brought to you by our friends at Waggle Golf. Waggle Golf believes what you wear on the course should reflect your individuality. Who you are, where you're from, your hobbies, interests, and passions. All the stuff that makes you, well, you. That's why every design is inspired by the desire to create a piece of apparel that strikes a chord when you see it. That makes you say, wow, that was made for me. Because in a lot of ways, it was. Ready to get your waggle on? Go to getyourwaggleon.com. Throw in promo code SP10 at checkout to take 10% off your entire order. Joining the show today is one of us by way of 4 seasons with your OG Minnesota North Stars to open up more than a decade of playing in the NHL, all to come full circle and be capped off by a Stanley Cup Championship with the Dallas Stars. Shawn Chambers, appreciate you jumping on with us.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Now, first question we ask everybody, and maybe a little bit newer for you then with all of the history you've got in Minnesota, but Minnesota Wild logo, controversial. When you look at it, what is it? What do you see?
I see a lot of different things. I mean, you see the wolf and just it was kind of crazy the first time I looked at it, playing for the North Stars for all those years and then being with Dallas and not having that N on the jersey it was hard to see for me as an ex-player.
Man, but I got to ask you off of that, what are your thoughts on the throwback jersey for the Minnesota Wild? Like, do you like that they're bringing back that look and feel, or do you feel like that's reserved for the North Stars? It needs to have the N on the chest.
I like it. I think it needs to be here just because, I mean, without the North Stars, there probably wouldn't be a Wild team here anyway. So I like that they have those colors going. I mean, to bring that back, I think a lot of the fans like it too.
As you can, judging by the sales at the lodge there, they do pretty well. I'll tell you that much. Our podcast is called Fellowship of the Rink, Lord of the Rings fandom for us. I'm not sure if you are an LOR fan or watch the movies or not, but if not, what's your nerddom? What's your nerd itch you have, or like kind of a thing, your thing?
I have watched all those. I kind of like the Dragons, Game of Thrones stuff. I'm into the fantasy. I read a lot of books of fantasy, just dragons and all that stuff. So I kind of like that part of it too.
Do you like the House of Dragons better than Game of Thrones, or is it still like not left up to expectations so far?
It's too new for me to get. I mean, I've watched it, but I haven't. I've read some of the stuff, and it's good. I don't know if it's going to touch Game of Thrones for me yet, but it's kind of like the intro to it. So I'm liking it, but it's not quite Game of Thrones for me yet.
Oh, Joe, you and I were having beers just last week, and we kind of are on opposite sides of this. I'm not a big House of the Dragon guy. I think that they're kind of missing the mark. Like, I'm watching it and it's fine, but especially when you compare it to Game of Thrones, I'm not even close. But I don't know. I feel like they're rushing the plot a lot. I feel like there's things that just like they got the right idea and storyline. I just feel like they're not executing on it the way they were with the Game of Thrones series. But maybe I'm just, too picky.
Well, I haven't had anybody as a guest that's from my hometown in Sterling Heights, Michigan. So got to ask you, like, where you grew up. I know you probably Royal Oak too, but like where 15 in Mound, 15 in Van Dyke. Like where was your
16 and a half and Utica, kind of right there. Okay. So yeah,
Dodge Park area.
Dodge Park, right. That was literally right across the street, like just up the street. I was on Fairview Drive right there. So, Kevin and Darian Hatcher on the same street. So that was kind of fun.
It's a pretty good like hockey scene back then, like in Fraser, right? I guess, or where you guys like?
Well,
came up?
We all were all over the place, because it was AAA. So they were playing Little Caesars. I was playing Fraser. I'd go somewhere else. Kevin was always better than me. So I was always kind of the oddball out when CompuWare went like 102 that year in 1984 or whatever it was. I was playing on Fraser. So, they had Turcotte and Iafrate and Van Beesbrock and all those guys. And I did not make that team, which for me was probably the best thing because I was the best player on another team. So that helped me.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite Hatcher brothers story of them two in the younger days? You guys were playing?
We would be playing backyard basketball, and they were 6'6", 6'4", and I'm 6'2", and we just play no rules. And the old Mark was the biggest one. He was 6'8", and we'd play 3-on-3 or 2-on-2 in the backyard, and they would just thump me all over the place because I was so much smaller than them.
Didn't take it easy on you, for sure.
No. Kevin used to box at Kronk Boxing, too, because his dad was a boxer. So I'd put the headgear on and let him just beat me up for a little while. So that was fun, too.
Nice. Now, you were telling me before we jumped on, posted up at not the nicest of days today, but generally speaking, beautiful Gull Lake. Was your time as a Minnesota North Star just so great that you decided you had to come back here and plant roots?
I married a girl from Brooklyn Center, and her grandparents had a place on Cross Lake. They bought in the 40s for they got 200 feet for like $2,000. People thought they were crazy. So her dad was a teacher, his twin was a pastor, and his two sisters were teachers. So she spent all her summers up on West Shore Drive on Cross Lake. So we were looking for a summer place when I was playing, and I was thinking Traverse City because I knew the golf courses were nice there. But then the Pines opened up here, and then Cragun's and Deacon's, and all of a sudden it just went crazy. And it's like, yeah, I'm a golf fanatic, so I can stay up here. That's kind of what brought me up here.
So golf is what's keeping you here, which is interesting because like there's so many other places that you hear about guys retiring. They're going to Arizona, they're going to Florida, and they're going to be doing their golfing. And you're like, no, I only need 4 months of golf.
Yeah, I mean, I have 2 grandkids down in the cities right now in Oakdale, so they're 5 and 3. So that's part of keeping me here too. So
yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah.
And with your time with the North Stars, I know it was a very brief overlap, just given the timelines, but any like interactions or experience or stories with Lou Nanny that you might be able to drop?
Well, I mean, Lou is the one who drafted me. So I was there, and Herb Brooks was my first coach there. You know, he liked me, but I was never in great shape, so I had to go to the minors for a little while and came back up. But he liked me as a game, but not so much. I mean, I Lou was a GM, so I didn't really, most players don't converse with the GMs back then. So I mean, they talk to you, but I don't really have too many Louis stories just because he didn't really come in the locker room and talk to me very often.
Sure. What about playing for Herbie? What's that all about?
That year was a really tough year. We weren't very good. He didn't last very long after that. I think he got fired that year. But I mean, just for me growing up as a hockey player, watching the Olympics, the 80s and doing all that stuff, I mean, it was kind of like, wow, I get to play for Herb Brooks. So I knew it was a special thing for me to be able to play for him.
I used to cover the Lightning before I came here from Tampa. Know you have a special place in your heart, I'm sure, being part of that inaugural team. Heard a lot of crazy stories about playing in the fairgrounds there. Were you part of the story where the fan walked in, like in the middle of intermission, like Terry was taking a talk, or do you remember that? Or he was looking for the bathroom?
I don't remember, but it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, it was, we called it the cow pasture out there. So, but yeah, I don't remember him walking locker room, but I had so many knee problems from after I left here. So I was in and out of the lineup for, 3 years. I didn't play very often. So I was kind of hit or miss whether I was playing or not.
Yeah, the story, Scott, is that in the inaugural season, they played in the fairgrounds, right? And they had, open up to fans and everything like that. And so I guess during intermission, like Terry was ready to light up the team. And then all of a sudden a dad and a son walked into the locker room on accident and asked where the bathroom was. And so like all the players were trying not to laugh, like not lose it. And Terry was like, I don't know how I'm going to drop F-bombs now with this kid here, So like that just like, it was a very intimate, I think, area. You guys had beers with fans afterwards, didn't you?
Oh yeah.
After
yeah, a little beer garden out there. Yeah, it was an interesting time. I mean, we were just trying to grow the game down there. We didn't have any superstars at all. I mean, Brian Bradley was our best player, and so it was it's kind of all of us who. I think that was that the first expansion draft that there ever was. I think it was.
The Lightning in Ottawa. One?
Yeah. I just think it was the first one, so we were all the left off guys, so it kind of felt bad, but at the same time, you had something to prove, and that's kind of what we felt like when we went down there.
And then Esposito's a character, of course. He was trying to cut every corner he could, and he was selling tickets and stuff. Like he's the guy you probably talked to a little bit as a player, right? I mean, Espo was involved in everything.
Yeah, he was, and we'd be on no charter flights. We'd be getting red eyes from here and there. I mean, the corners were cut on flying and all that stuff. We're in the airport lobbies and all that stuff. So yeah, it was definitely interesting for that part of it.
Has to be wild to see how the teams turned out now, right? Like probably one of the model franchises. You probably wouldn't have thought back then of I don't know if you've been to Tampa since, but like how crazy it is, fan base there.
Yeah, I mean, I've been there one other time. I went down there for a game for something. I don't know if it was a reunion or something. We went down there, and I mean, just to see the people, it's crazy. I mean, they should. I mean, when you're winning that many, winning cups like that, the fans come around and, look at Minnesota here for all those years for the Wild. They were selling out. They're not doing so good. All of a sudden, it's not quite as good as it used to be, but hopefully Billy brings it back around.
We definitely hope that. Random question, just curious what your personal thoughts are on crease violation penalties.
Well, I'll tell you a story. I got the puck from the Hull when Hull scored the goal in Dallas. It's sitting on my mantle over here.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
I went in the net and got it. So as far as anything in the crease, it's hard for me to argue anything because whether his foot was in the crease or not, I don't know. I got the puck and I got a ring. So, it's so hard. I mean, these guys are getting right in the goalie's face. They're so big now, and if the goalie comes out of the crease and hits somebody, I don't know. It shouldn't. It's a very iffy rule for me. I don't know if it's good, bad, or indifferent. It feels like there's too much video replay on all that stuff, and some of the ones I think are in, they don't count.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the ones I don't think should be in, they count. So I wouldn't want to be the guy doing it. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's just a big old guessing game. There's some names on that team. Like you look at Brett Hull, obviously the controversial goal, but like what an iconic player. Mike Modano, who, whether it's from the North Stars, whether it's just from being an all-time great for Team USA, working for the Wild now. You got Pat Verbeek in a front office. You even got a guy like Derek Plant, who now his kids are like the next ones up and coming from Minnesota. Like any good stories from that cup run, cup celebrations, anything you want to throw out?
So we're in Colorado. We're down 3-2 in the series. We're down, I don't know if it's first or second period. And Hitch comes in and just gets all over us. And then we had more captains. I mean, Carbonneau, Scrudlin, Keener, Ludwig. I mean, we had all those Montreal guys. They came in. We're going to win despite that guy out front. We're still going to win this game. And, so that was really cool. Like the guys that just stepped up. Hatch was the captain, but he wasn't he was by what he did on the ice, he was captain, but we had so many guys in that locker room that were leaders that we just followed through. And, they basically willed us to win that cup because we were down in Colorado after 1 or 2 periods too, down 3-2 in the series. So that was a big turning point.
Obviously, having the puck on your mantle there, how did you get it from Brett? I know you got it out of the net, so finders keepers, or like I thought that he'd be like, I want that actual company goal, I want to hit that puck, right?
Well, in '95, when I was with Devils and we beat Detroit, I scored the last 2 goals of the game. We won 5-2 to sweep them in 4, and I was behind the net, and somebody from the Red Wings shot it around the net, and the puck hit my skate. I'm like, and I didn't keep a lot of memorabilia at the time, so I just picked it up and put it in my pants. I'm like, I could have been, whether or not a puck goes over the glass, it could have been my goal, like, because it was like 6 minutes left in the game. So I kept that one, and I was on the ice when Brett scored, and I was like, I'm going to go to the net and get it. I mean, this is before, now every puck, every game they get it, but this is 99. The pucks weren't a big thing. So I don't know if 80% of people know that I even have it on my team. So yeah, so that's kind of that story.
2 cup clinching goal pucks. That's pretty hard to beat that one for sure.
Yeah.
And those Jersey teams, like, were not fun to play against, of course. They weren't maybe the most fun team to watch if you're a fan, I guess. They were just like, I guess to play on that team must have been like really cool though. I mean, you have don't give up anything and you have the Hall of Famer in net and all that stuff. So
yeah, I mean, Jacques, I learned more from Jacques Lemaire and Larry Robinson in the first 5 days. And so this is 95. I'm probably 29 years old. I learned more how to play hockey in 2 weeks than I did in 29 years. Just the style and just how to play defensive hockey and turn your edges the right way. Things that nobody ever told me before, never turn your skates to the boards. Well, nobody ever told me that. You just turn the ice, make them go on the outside. Like, oh my gosh, how simple, but nobody ever told me to do it. So it's kind of enlightening. But our side, the whole trap thing, we turned more pucks over that neutral zone, and we went on offense, and it was to play on that team was crazy because we were that good. I tell people both cups, I go, when I was in Jersey on that run, I'm like, Detroit was supposed to kill us in that series. They were overwhelming favorite. And I told my buddies back home, because I'm, being from Detroit, and I go, there is no way they beat us. No, they cannot beat us right now. And I never had that feeling. I'm getting chills thinking about it, but I never had that feeling. Even in Dallas when we won, I still didn't have that feeling we were going to, that we were unbeatable.
Yeah. And you had obviously a young Bill Guerin on that team.
Yep.
He just thought you win the cup every year when you come into the league, because he was doing it the first time. What do you remember about Bill Guerin? Everybody knows him now as the GM of the Wild, but as far as like Bill Guerin, the player, the character, obviously I'm sure he had some confidence back then even too.
Yeah, I mean, he was just a big, strong winger. He could skate, he could shoot. Like he had the full package. He was tough as nails. He would go in the corners. He could shoot. He could skate, and then he was kind of a character off the ice too. He liked to have a lot of fun. He liked to joke around. And so my youngest son, he's born in '92, and so Billy would come in the Wise room and play little sticks with my kid, and so my son wore 13 when he was playing up here in Pequot. So it's kind of funny that's how he got. I mean, that's how my son was. Billy was his favorite player.
Yeah, Mike Rupp was telling us a story about he used to be a teammate too, and then Bill would have Star Wars parties like over his house with the two of them and their kids, and they had lightsabers out and play. Like probably wasn't then a 28-year-old doing it, but I'm sure he was other. Maybe he's more of a card player back then on the plane and stuff. But,
no, he was always good with all the kids, and because him and I don't think he was married at that time, but he was close. But yeah, it was really good.
You played with some pretty elite goaltenders too. Like, talk me through. They've all got their stories, and we all know that goalies can be different. Talk about how different these very different creatures are.
So we won the cup, and then Terreri gets traded, and so this is Brodeur, and so Terreri gets traded. They're roommates, and so I'm all of a sudden me and Marty drive to the rink because we're close together, and so now he's a roommate. And he goes, "Well, I never have a drink the day before a game." I said, "Well, you're my roommate. We're going to go have a beer." So we go out and have a beer in Philadelphia. He has one. I have about three, and he shuts him out. So now we're on the road. He's going, we got to go find and go have a drink, one drink before every game until he doesn't get a shutout again. So he did that for about 4 games, and he played really well. And he's like, and then we didn't do it anymore. But it was kind of funny how that was how that was. He just never did it. And, they have that little thing. John Casey, in that cup run we had, never wanted a puck in his net. Like, he would dive for pucks, even if it was after a whistle, just not getting it in. And then you had Eddie in Dallas, who would literally just come out on his angle and not move, and he'd dare you to beat him on the shot. You just come out and warm up and just go right here, and he wouldn't even move. He just like, oh, my angle's off. So it was just kind of 3 different ways to how to do things, and Martin with his half up, half down, like nobody ever played like that before. And I still think he's the greatest ever. That's just my honest opinion of how good he was.
Man, another guy that gets thrown into that discussion is the guy that you guys had to beat for that Stanley Cup, Dominik Hasek. Like, how intimidating is it just looking up and seeing that iconic goalie mask and being like, oh God, I got to find a way to beat this psycho?
Well, thank God I was on defense, so I didn't have to do that, because I don't think I would have been able to. I don't think I ever scored on him, but he was something else. I mean, just the way he'd drop his stick and grab it with his hand. I mean, he was incredible. I mean, Patrick Waugh was another one where he's up there. He's just not my favorite. So, but Dominator, he was definitely unorthodox, to say the least. But yeah, he was a fierce competitor.
What took you to Fairbanks from Michigan as a Michigan kid? Like, I wasn't sure if you had any sniffs from any of the schools in the CCHA back then for like Michigan schools or what, but what took you there?
None. Nobody. We won the national championship in '84. I led everybody in scoring. I had decent grades, but whatever. I wanted to go to Michigan State because they were the powerhouse back then, and not a sniff. So Chris Corey, I don't know if remember him from Detroit area. He was a good friend of one of the head coach up in Fairbanks, and he goes, "You got to take this guy." So coach never saw me play up in Fairbanks, and I told him I'd go. Last minute call from Lake Superior State, and I said, "No, I'm going to Fairbanks. They wanted me. I'm going up there." And again, like I said earlier, when I was younger, I wasn't playing on the best teams. Another thing, well, if I go to Michigan State, I sit on the, get red shirt or whatever. I go to Fairbanks, all of a sudden I'm getting 20 minutes a game, right away as a freshman. So, weird move, but best thing that could have happened to me. So I got a lot of ice time. So it kind of helped me along.
Maybe a chance to get drafted and a better chance to get drafted that way if you get more exposure.
Yeah, we had a tryout. I had a tryout with Saskatoon. They came to Michigan State, and me and a couple buddies went up. Michael on, you don't know these names, but a couple of buddies went up there, and Wendell Clark was there, and guy goes, "Well, we could probably find a spot up here for you," and I'm like, I didn't know how good I was. I was 18 years old, and Kevin Hatcher and Mark and Darian, they're all going to play in the OHL right away. I'm like, I don't know if I better go to college just in case I, don't get to play pro hockey. Mm-hmm. So, but it was interesting because after I left Fairbanks, I went and played in Seattle in the WHL, and it was run and gun. It was like, oh my gosh, why wasn't I here before?
And I don't know if you've followed much since leaving Fairbanks, but are you familiar with the very, we'll call it polarizing intro video they had for the 2020 or for the 2010 season, where it's literally some kid in school that's like going for some kind of graphic design degree just threw together this like bunch of clips of a polar bear like flying in a jet plane, sinking a ship with like a lightsaber hockey stick. Like it was just like something that was dreamed up on like the craziest like drug high ever, and it's like now iconic and legendary.
I haven't seen it. I'm going to have to definitely look it up after you say that.
Yep.
Obviously, you'll be a big part of the Craguns. There's a tournament coming up Labor Day weekend. I was there last year. It was a lot of fun. Matt Boldy played, so I kind of followed him through every hole. And, you mentioned it can be humbling. He's a NHL player, thinks he's a great golfer, and knows just how tough it really is. Jack at Craguns was telling me they're thinking about giving you a sponsor's exemption. I was curious, what's your predicted? What would you shoot if you got a chance to play in this tournament?
Well, if it was 20 years ago, I'd say I could probably shoot around par. But right now, I'm a little too old for that. I actually played front nine yesterday at Dutchess. I'm not all the way back. We were just playing kind of middle tees, and I was 1 under through 9 before we got rained out. So I was playing as good as I could play, but it's a lot of fun. I caddied. I had Martin Berder's kid here the first year in 22. He stayed at my house, Anthony. He missed the cut. I caddied for him the first 2 days, and then Jack called me, and I caddied for God, I just saw his name. I can't remember the next 2 days. So I've caddied both years for it. So it's fun to be in it, instead of walking around and watching it or carrying a sign or doing something like that. Mm-hmm. But if I'm going to be there, I want to be involved. I want to be, with the players and just watching these guys, how young they are and how far they hit it. It is crazy. They're crazy good.
It's a great course too. I mean, it's beautiful. I'm sure it's challenging. I never played it. I just kind of walked it like that, but I can imagine what the challenge is there.
Yeah, it's that and the Laban are both. I mean, it's a great property, and the course is in great shape right now too. So it's getting better every year too. Once all the seed grows in and all the fairways get in better, and it's good.
Jack was telling me that your magical run in a golf tournament you guys had, like 4 birdies in a row. Is that the best you've ever played in your life? Like how many beers you had before that round to get you 4 birdies in a row?
I had to have a few just so I could actually swing the club there. In the last 4 rounds, I tried not to have any just because I got to see if I could do it again. But we were even par through 12 holes, and I made 4 birdie. I almost made another hole and 1 at the same hole that I did there before and was about an inch away. But I went 4 in a row to get this 4 under, and we won the tournament that he's been trying to win. That he used to work there. It's Gogibic Country Club in Ironwood. It's a tiny little hole.
Oh,
Yeah.
Quebec. We go out that way for our annual snowmobile trip. I got a buddy who's like just over the border in Wisconsin who like, it's ridiculous. They got this compound with like anywhere from 9 to 12 working snowmobiles at a time. It's a different world out there though. When you go out there in the winter and it's literally just snowmobiling and that's it.
Yeah. So.
You spend more time in Michigan at all? Have you spend any? I don't know if any families there or what kind of the situation.
I still have 2 sisters that live there. My mom just passed 2 years ago. She was living there in Sterling Heights at the house for a long time, and then she moved in with my other sister, and so I haven't been back there in a year and a half, which I know I need to go because I haven't seen my nephews in a little while, so I have to get out there soon.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you jumping on. We do have, so you're a big golfer. We have a question that's up your
Question brought to you, as always, by our good friends at Waggle Golf. First, make sure you head over to getyourwaggleon.com, throw in promo code SP10 to take 10% off your entire order.
Shawn, dead or alive, pro athlete, celebrity, whoever, who are the 3 guys that would round out your dream golf foursome?
That is super interesting. I would probably put both my 2 boys, Cody and Connor. 4th one, I'm going to go Freddie Couples.
Okay.
Freddie's my man.
Mm-hmm.
Freddie's my guy. I met him once, and I like him. But yeah, dream foursome, my kids, I just want to play golf with them whenever I can. If I had to not take kids, I don't know. John Daly would be kind of fun. Dustin Johnson, Dustin DJs, I like him too.
So that's going to be the party cart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can hang.
So would it be you and couples in a cart and your sons in the other cart, or would you have to pick one of your sons to drive?
Yeah, no, they're for sure. They're for sure with them by themselves. Me and Freddie for sure. Yeah. I just love watching him swing a golf club. I don't know if anybody's had more effortless swing than him.
Yeah. So smooth. Absolutely. Yeah. Unlike my golf swing, but I love playing. I love getting out there playing. If I get 1 or 2 good shots around, keeps me coming back and knowing that I can do it and have fun. So
usually on 18 or something like that, right?
Save it till the end.
Yeah.
But Shawn, thanks so much for coming on. Enjoyed kind of going memory lane with you. Obviously, didn't know about the memorabilia thing there. That's pretty cool to have. Probably one of the people who have that kind of 2 cups, like 2 cup pucks like that. But good luck with the tournament coming up, and should be a fun one. But thanks. We'll have you on again at some point.
Yeah. All right. Thanks. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you again, Shawn. Awesome guy. He's teased that we might be able to get some beers up in the Brainerd area together. We'll see about that. But I'm absolutely going to take him up on it if that holds true. But what a guy. He's definitely got stories. We definitely didn't tap into all of them. And he played in the era that made me like fall in love with NHL, right? Like I didn't really have like the firm grasp on it. Like it was harder to get access to games. They weren't on TV, and like the Wild didn't exist for a good chunk of that. But like a lot of the names that we talked about, like some of the dynasties back then, that's where it all started for sure. Isha, the only hockey news item we have here that is really current for the Minnesota Wild, I figured is perfect for you. I guess we'll tease it so that other people can go tune in and listen to what Z has to say because it's prospect related, but you just having your devoted love affair with the WHL. We have a new prospect, Ritchie, just drafted in the 2nd round, traded. Talk about it.
Yeah, so Ritchie was traded to the Medicine Hat Tigers. So the Medicine Hat Tigers are a very young team, but like a stupidly loaded talent team.
Wagon.
It's absolutely insane. And they have like the next prodigy on the team as well, who's putting up McDavid, Crosby, Bedard numbers in, the CHL right now. And the center going to Prince Albert, like he's solid. What he had 62 points last year, 23 goals, and he was young as well. He just turned 18, and the fact that Ritchie, who's winger going the direction of the Medicine Hat Tigers here, who has an opportunity to play potentially on the other side of Gavin McKenna, and in between now the overager center that they have out of Vancouver, like it's the first line has potential to be like one of the best lines in the WHL. And not only that, like, again, they have like 4 other 17-year-olds, 2 other 18-year-olds, guys who are really just taking that step into like their prime junior years. And dude, this team is going to be insane. So Medicine Hat, despite giving up one of their better centers, who he played his second full year in the WHL, took a big step up in points. I don't think he's a 4th rounder to the St. Louis Blues, but he's no Ritchie. I think that this is awesome. This is them not necessarily going all in, but definitely, and not even really like filling in a hole that they had on the roster, just really upgrading their already young talent. And they had to give up some picks, which again, in junior hockey, giving up picks isn't that big a deal, because you really like kind of like college programs, you have only like a 3-4 year turnaround every cycle, but it obviously does help, especially drafting young guys now locally in Canada, where the private schools are getting better. AAA is still awesome, and it's so cutthroat now in Canada to even get to like some AAA levels, because and we've talked about this before, like your family are paying an arm and a leg for just like so much skills development training and things like that. So if you are being drafted into the WHL or the OHL, or anyone can be on the QMJHL, let's be honest, but slight jab, I'm not a big Q fan, but if you're being drafted into the CHL, like you are, you've put in your time, and you're very, very good, right? So I think that this is a tremendous move for Medicine Hat. This kid, if he plays, or like if Ritchie plays on the same line as Gavin McKenna, and for those who don't know, Gavin McKenna played as a 15-year-old last year, 97 points in 61 games. Like he's putting up Bedard and McDavid numbers. It's absolutely insane. So I love this for Ritchie here, because it's not like he's going to a team where he's the young guy who has to play with a bunch of these overagers and has that just expectation. He's going to a young team that are with players as talented as him, and there's only a handful of like 19 and 20-year-olds. And Medicine has a great coach and great program in Willie Desjardins, who coached in the National Hockey League. Didn't coach a very good Vancouver Canucks team, but did coach with the Vancouver Canucks, worked his way up from the WHL. When he was fired from Vancouver, he actually went back to Medicine Hat, and really, like, they've been good ever since. Like his program is awesome there. And there's just kind of like with college coaches, there's just some coaches that just fit that league. And Willie Desjardins definitely fits the WHL, and he's been with Medicine Hat for so long. Their program has just been so good. And yeah, I just absolutely love this for a Minnesota prospect who's going to play with some amazing players. Gavin McKenna in particular.
That's the thing for me, dude. Like whether it's Gavin McKenna, Caden Lindstrom, or even like Andrew Basha getting moved to center, he's going to have good line mates, and he's going to be on a team that's going to be vying for like a deep run.
Yeah, Andrew Basha too, man. He's insanely
Sign me up for it every time. I'm excited. It's going to be fun,
dude. It's going to be so awesome. And now I'm like, not that I like didn't have an excuse to watch Medicine Hat, but now I'm like, I actually have a reason to watch this team a lot more, and it's going to be awesome because for those who haven't seen Gavin McKenna play yet, like it's incredible. It's incredible. Because he's not going to be drafted for another 2 years, which is what's crazy, right? Like
that is the fun part.
Like we were talking about how like there's the potential that like he might go overseas and play a year pro before he's even drafted, just because he might outgrow the talent level of the WHL. Now that's a long shot, but like he's one of those guys who could do that for his development, because why not? He's already putting up, Riley Heidt type numbers through like 2-3 years younger than him.
Yeah, that's scary. That'll do it. Awesome. Well, hey, everyone, thank you again for tuning in this week. Make sure, if this is your first time checking us out, we appreciate it. Make sure that you subscribe up. We've got some awesome interviews already banked leading up to the season that you're not going to want to miss. 5-star review. We certainly won't complain. But make sure if you like any of the video content, whether you like watching the podcasts via video, or if you want to get clips, highlight reels, just focusing on interviews, whatever, go over to the SodaPod YouTube channel, subscribe up to that, and check out the other shows across the channel as well. Judd's Buds, that's with Z's, Judd _Z, Bud Z. If you want to check out anything NHL draft or prospects in the Wild system, then we've got MNCAA firing up here pretty soon, covering all 6 Division I teams in Minnesota. And then I know Isha is going to be working on something here probably in the coming weeks with Brett Marshall doing a little bit of eye test versus analytics. More to come on that at some point. And I know the occasional hits there with Isha and our boy Seth Topal over at Locked On Wild. So again, regardless of where you're listening, check us out across all of those channels. SodaPod YouTube is definitely the hub. Place that's been growing the most lately. Getting a lot of traction there, and
we love all the comments, by the way. Yeah. Just like how you guys on the Fellowship of the Rink or SodaPod podcast feed, just like how you guys rate and review. By liking and commenting the videos, that gets us in front of more eyes, just like your rating and reviews on the audio side get us in front of more ears. So we love the interaction. For every video you watch, smash the like button, comment, and we love hearing your guys' takes as well.
Beautiful. Well, thank you all again. Checking out the latest installment. That's right. I saw someone got worried when Joe posted the last episode. Latest.
Wait, what? You guys just got started.
The latest episode of Fellowship of the Rank.
Come on, Joe. You're the writer.
Hey, it wasn't incorrect. It was the last episode. The last one that was posted.
The last installment.
Get us out of here. You stay classy. Stay to hockey.